I just want to start by grounding us in the Zoom room. So, if you can, and you're in a place that you can, just close your eyes for a minute and come into the somatic landscape of the body with a couple of breaths. We have a lot of distraction out there, and when we come into the space of being able to talk about our writing, it is really nice to come into the body where so many of our stories are held and so much of our wisdom in these little nooks and crannies of the feet and the hands and the head and everything in between. We often ground ourselves in the intention of being in a place at a certain time. You took some time out of your day to be here. So ground yourself in the intention of why, and make sure that you get what you need from the call. So we're here for you to ask your questions, to get them answered, to feel at home in a space where we believe writing is absolutely doable in all its forms. Once you have the intention, if you gain the skills and the tools and the architecture to make it happen, honestly, anyone who has been in Gateless before or was a luminary for you or whatever can tell you that it is entirely possible. So let's demystify that today. You can open your eyes and come into the Zoom room. And I'm going to talk a little bit about writing before I move into the academy itself and the gateless approach to writing. My understanding of the written word, and I've been writing since I was obviously a very small girl and never expected to go anywhere with it. I just thought it was something that I did under my covers by myself. I wrote poetry, I wrote out what I was upset about or what I was mad about. And as I got older, this relationship with the word I started to realize was pivotal to anything else I wanted to do in my life. So even if I didn't originally have the intention of publishing, I understood that the page was a place that I could go to put everything that was getting in my way in terms of not being able to move forward, whether in relationships or in my career or with money. There was something that was alchemizing about turning to the word. And for me, it was like 7 years of memoir before the novel dropped. And it literally dropped. It was like, oh, I have these characters. But I remember that a friend who was a memoirist and a how-to writer would say to me, like, oh, you can absolutely write nonfiction. You should just get this published right now. And it was almost like I needed that relationship with the word before what I wanted to publish dropped down. And for me, I had a little bit of a vulnerability problem. And mine was that I had a very hard time being vulnerable and telling people things. And, I was a real listener and observer. And so when the fiction dropped, it felt like a way that I could be honest on the page and get it published without feeling like I was putting my whole self out there. So one of the things that Gateless does is it protects the vulnerability of the writer. We really think about that vulnerability as a treasure chest and a gold mine, a place to go to look for the stories and a place to go to look for the heightened emotions of being human. And that's really the energy behind so much of what you see. So some writers are just good at being able to be vulnerable. They take out their vulnerable stories and they put them on the page, and it's great. But most of the time, what you find is the vulnerability leaks out somewhere. So you're not sure if you're good enough at writing, or that you're going to be able to hang with the people who are publishing, or you feel like you're going to hurt somebody's feelings by writing what you're writing, your own, somebody else's. There's going to be critics who aren't going to like it wherever they are, public or personal. And what Gateless does is it gives you a container. It gives you a place to come where you can go into that rich gold mine, that treasure chest of where the stories really live, the stories that we want to read, in order that you feel like I can mine this and I won't be risking coming out of it and reading and learning the craft and learning how to put it out into sale by having to deal with judgment, somebody else's critical voice. So, what Gateless found, what I found when I started to do research on the creative process, which is fascinating if you look at it, and I started that research about 30 years ago, and then it's continued throughout my life, is that if we are afraid of criticism, our areas of the brain that are responsible for innovation, the imagination, getting ideas onto the page are completely shut down. So you don't want to rise to criticism, but you have to have agency in this industry. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know how to put a piece of writing together, whether it's an email that you're moving out to market to somebody, or a book, or a short story, or an article. You've got to know how to do it. Because what's happening is we see so much content out in the world that we know what good content is. And immediately, almost after the first two lines, if it doesn't hold us, we're gone because there's just too many other pieces to read. Books, articles, newsletters, anything. So when you apply craft, what you get is agency to do the thing that has been knocking on your door for so long. So a lot of people say, well, I download these things. It just comes out of me. Like, I don't even think I need craft. I just have it. It's just coming, it's coming, it's coming. And that is often the rough draft. And then there are consecutive drafts that make it ready for the sale. And what Gateless does is it helps you see the ecstasy and the bliss in the revision process, in the sale process. It helps you gain a family of writers who are going to encourage you, give you agent names, show up at your book tour. You're not going to feel alone anymore. So the whole literary arts organization that is Gateless was born for the writer to feel supported, for the writer to feel can do. I can do this thing. This is demystified. The whole industry is demystified, and I know how to navigate it now. And I have agency to make the book that's in front of me into something that actually is going to walk into the agent hand, and the agent is going to be like, wow, this exceeds industry standard, and I want it. I want it. And then the film comes and the translation rights and all the rest of it. So why not? Why not do something with this thing that you love? That's what I kind of decided. Like, I love this. I'm always going to do it. So why not do something with it that's going to build a career and create financial stability? So the Academy was born because I was working one-on-one with a lot of different people. And I started to notice that the book has a kind of science to it. It's not formulaic. Every book is different, every voice is different, every story is unique. But there is a kind of mathematical equation that happens within the book that has to do with shapes that are inside every manuscript. And I don't really know why I was able to see the shapes, but when I described it to my writers, they got it. And they would be able to put the book together into these different shapes, like the arc, the circular structure of time, how to do a flashback in these sort of micro bursts so that you never lose the story. It's just, there's so much to craft. And if you don't have the vernacular or you can't codify it and concretize it, it's almost like I have this mass of words and these different stories and and I don't know what to do with them. And what this kind of craft does, it just brings it all into line. Oh, I know exactly what to do with them. I know where to put it. I know how to start it. I know how to end it. I know why books are page turny. Like, I get it now. And when I was doing this with a lot of different writers, they started to want to know each other. like, oh, can I meet your other writers? And I started to see that their books were in conversation with each other. And that, this person who was writing a healing memoir wanted to talk to the person that was in the infertility memoir, or the person that was writing the novel that took place in a historical era wanted to talk to the person who was doing it in this contemporary crime way. They wanted to know each other. So the first academy was, 15 people who I was working with, and they all fell like deeply in love with each other. And many of them know each other now. They've gone on book tour together. They've won the same awards, that sort of thing. And then it built from there. Can we have more luminaries? I wish I had more time. I want to spend more time with these people. I feel like I can't, because it was 10 weeks. I can't get enough done in this 10 weeks. And it is actually madness to try to do a book build in 10 weeks. So it just was really a need-based grassroots program that grew from what people wanted and what writers were saying. I don't have enough time. So could we do the calls this way? Could I see you on Zoom? Could we have luminaries who've been through the academy before and could hold our hands? Can we have work in progress salons so that I can read my book? Can I have a studio where I go to write and I'm able to see other people who are writing too? It was all put together in this big architectural build. And we luckily had an angel investor on the board who was able to fund the program partly so that writers weren't spending an arm and a leg on it, because it is very expensive to run a program that is this comprehensive and this long. So it kind of all came together in a perfect storm. And when you see people who come back to the academy year after year after year, they do it because the academy seminars, the academy information, what you're going to learn from the luminaries, from our craft talks together, from your work in progress salons, all of it, it's like a labyrinth. I don't know if any of you have ever walked a labyrinth, but when you walk a labyrinth, you see different things. You see the same thing from different perspectives. And that's why alumni return. The information that has to do with how to meet your story with the power of the word and craft inside an industry that is very competitive, all of those things are going to change depending on what you're working on. So when you're able to be inside this field that is the academy and know I have all my friends around me, I have Suzanne that I can ask a million questions to. She's going to look at my pages. She's going to tell me what she thinks about this first chapter, whether I should end like that, if this character's needed, whether the memoir is going to hurt my brother's feelings. Like, I'm mentoring you the whole entire time. So you're really getting that, whatever book you're working on. And that's why writers come again and again and again. So they're on their second book, they're on their third book, or they just did a draft and they want to revise it through the academy. And the academy is built to meet you where you are. And what's amazing about it is it's like an oracle, like a crystal that you look at. And if you look at it from this side, the light looks a certain way. And if you look at it from that way, it looks opaque. And you can really do that with the academy. So some people come into the academy and they only have an idea. They're like, well, I know I'm a writer and I know that a book is going to come. I don't know what it is, but I feel like if I'm in this community and in this field, it will come, and it does. And some people are like, I'm on my third draft. I want to sell this book and I want to start the other one, and I'm going to use the academy for revision, and that's fine too. So this is what it's going to look like, you guys, for this year. As most of you are coming to the academy, some of you are interested in it still and trying to figure it out. You're every week you're going to have something. And what you want to do with the academy, it's kind of like you're at a banquet and you're not going to be able to eat everything. Your body, you might be able to sit down and eat a little bit and then have a drink and have a conversation, go to bed and come back and eat a little more. And the academy is built so that everything is both live and recorded. So you're going to be able to come sometimes live, and then you're going to sometimes just not be able to, and you're going to listen to it. Like Laura Belgray, when she did the academy, she'd be like, I don't really come live, but I like to take my walk and listen to it. I just like it. I metabolize the information like that. So she can come live. She can ask me questions beforehand that she wants me to address on the live call, and then she can listen to it later, and I'll address them whether she's on there or not. But each week you're going to have something. So 1 week of the academy, your seminars drop for that week. And those seminars are gold. They are your foundation. They're going to show you how to do beginnings, how to build character in the memoir, in the how-to, in the novel. They're going to show you how to do little things like gesture in dialogue, why a sentence structure is going to matter when the reader reads it. How do you rearrange the words so a sentence really drops that dynamite that you want it to drop? And then the huge concepts, like how do I integrate theme in there? How do I get the global frame going so that this feels relevant to the reader? It's everything, and they're dropped in these smaller seminars. It's like you might get 5 seminars in 1 month, but they're 30 minutes long, 40 minutes long, and there's reading lists, there's exercises to do. And that is cold from all my work in New York with agents, with publishers, my work at Iowa Writers Workshop with Frank Conroy and his protege. It's my work from Bennington. It's my own work from all the years that I've worked with people in building books and dealing with the industry and how to do this. And these are my insecurities. And where do I put this? And do I move the chapter here? So you're going to listen to them. They're very meditative, but they're very clear of like, this is exactly what you need for this particular theme of the month. And then the next week, it's different every week, but we're going to meet and you're going to ask me questions. You can send me pages. We meet in a phone call on a Zoom, and you guys are all there and you'll ask me questions. Heather will put together a Google Doc with all your questions that come in, and I will talk to you on that Zoom call and I'll say, okay, I read the pages you sent. I understand your question. Here's where I think we need to talk about this. And the reason that we do it like that is that you're going to have questions that so many other people have. And memoirists, you're going to try to write the memoir like a novel. Novelists, you want to try to write the novel like a memoir in terms of energy, like it's going to feel true. I believe this. And with the memoir, you want them propulsively being drawn forward. And for the how-to, it's your wisdom and the memoir written like a novel all together. And so we'll talk about these are the 3 genres that we're going to talk about the most when we're in the academy. And you can absolutely ask me anything. I've literally been everywhere inside the industry and inside the craft. And then the next week, you're going to meet with Kate Baldwin, who's the senior editor. She's in Ireland now, so she couldn't come, but we'll do a work in progress salon with her when she gets back. And she's incredible at feedback and has worked as an acquisitions editor, has worked building books for years. She has her MED and her MFA. And you will bring something that you're working on inside your work. If you're not ready, you don't bring it, but you can come and listen. And then you read it, and she will show you what's working and where the power is. And that focuses your brain on the craft that's already there and the talent that's innate. Why do you need that? Because if you don't know that, you can't grow it. And that's what you want to grow. You don't want to grow your weakness. You don't want to focus on what's not working. You're getting all the craft. You're getting all those questions answered in our work together. In that work in progress salon, you need to know the power. Most writers have no idea where their unique power and talent lies. None. They don't know. I'm like, oh my God, that's an incredible piece you just wrote. And these are the 5 reasons why it's, oh, really? Oh, I didn't even see that. Yeah, because you don't know the craft in your own work because you take it for granted and immediately you're criticizing it. So what we want to do is usurp the criticism, which is not helpful, and give you the craft and the understanding of where your talent is. Where's your voice? What's working? Where's the power of this? What is going to connect to the reader? And once you know that, you grow it. You grow it with the craft, you grow it with the questions, you grow it with our time together. But otherwise, it's going to feel very confusing and foggy. I don't know if this is good or not. Well, then go to the work in progress salon and you'll know for sure what's working. And what happens with those little slices of the book being read is that you begin to understand your singular genius as a writer. That's what those do. It is actually magnificent. It feels magical to people. Like they the third month of the academy, they're like, "Oh my God, I'm a totally different. I understand myself as a writer now. I know what to do. I feel like I can move forward finally." It's just an incredible feeling. And then the next week you're going to have, and these are all about an hour and 15. You can drop in, you can not stay, you can drop in late, you can listen to them later like Laura did. And but the next time we meet, that next week, is a luminary. So you're going to meet a luminary in the industry. You've had a bunch of experiences with that, with the Academy Symposium. That's why we do it, so that you can meet people who have been through the program. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm out now and I'm doing this and that, but I can still tell you about my critic because they're part of Gateless, so they're not afraid of vulnerability. I can still tell you what the sale was like. I can still tell you where I felt disappointed in myself and where I finally felt like I had hit it. So when you meet the luminaries in the academy, they're just for your group. And you're going to be able to ask them questions, interact with them, talk about your own book. And they're really there to think it through with you and to answer the questions that you have, because we all have the same questions. Even though the work is unique, the questions around the process and the sale and like, am I doing this right? And there, it's all so overlapping. It never is like, oh, I've never heard that question before. And that alone will make you feel better about everything you're doing. And then in between all of that, you have, and this is why I say it's so comprehensive, you have the New Rules Studio, which started last year. It was our first time with Terry Trespisio's New Rules Studio. And the New Rules Studio is a writing studio. It's live. You get to drop in 4 times a week, anytime you want, for an hour and write with Gateless teachers. And then some people read, some people don't read, but you're hearing what people are writing about. And it's very important that you get dropped into prompt and write for these 20 minutes so that you can remember that you can write a book in 20 minutes a week, literally. It's just gaining those pages. And then you get to hear what people are writing about. And so you recognize, oh, she used that interesting beginning. I'm going to try that in my work. Oh, I love how she did dialogue. Oh my God, her description. I didn't even know you could do that with description. And you're also hearing, like, oh, I'm hearing a lot of work that's about X. I wonder if I should write about Y. It just gives you a lot of community around the word. And some people feel like, I'm just going to isolate myself and write my book. I don't want any other input, because what if I get influenced? You want to get influenced. You really do. You want to know what people are writing about, and you want to learn from other people's work, and you want to have a sense of community, or you begin to feel very isolated and the critic finds a hold in that void. So what is criticism? Why don't we ask it, invite it to come in the door? Criticism is opinion stated as fact. It's not fact. It's somebody's opinion. I didn't really like the mother in your piece. I just felt, I don't know, she was kind of like wishy-washy, or I don't really like stories based in Seattle. It's like, I don't care. You know what I mean? I want to know if this book is crafted well and if it can walk into the world. Because if it can, then it's going to sell, and there will be people who love your story. Not everyone will love your story. Like Marshall Chapman, who's been inside these Zoom rooms, has said, she's an incredible singer-songwriter, found fame very, very early. And she said a third of the room is going to absolutely love you, and a third of the room is going to absolutely hate you, and the third of the room isn't going to care about you. Right to the third of the room who's going to love you, because that's who your audience is going to be. So we do want you to craft it well, and we do want you to know the industry and have the network. We don't want you to feel bad about the work, because you're going to go to bed and you're going to wake up and say, I never want to write again. Why would you want to touch the hot stove again? So that's why we take it away. It doesn't work for the creative brain chemistry and doesn't work for output. That's why people in Gateless produce so quickly, because they're not fighting against opinion based stated as fact. they're going with the power of what they can do on the page, and then they're using the craft and the industry know-how and all of it to make it happen. It's very singular in the industry. And I have a feeling that it's only because people haven't gotten in touch with the creative brain science. They haven't bothered, to really research how do we do this. And it's not just writers, which I find fascinating. It's like musicians, it's dancers, it's anybody who wants to do a creative art. They found the same thing. If they get criticized, they shut down the parts of the brain that are innovative and risky, and come up with really interesting ideas and that sort of thing. So the academy is 10 months. It basically is those weeks that I told you. And some people let the seminars go for a little while. It's like, I don't, I'm getting so into the academy, I'm not going to listen to the seminars, but they will build and you'll be able to go back and listen to them. Or now I'm going to go back to the seminars and do all those exercises. I also send out prompts that are neurodynamic. That means they move you into the theta brain state and give you a little hit of dopamine in there too. And you're able to get going on the work if you need to do it on your own. So those are all incorporated in that week where the seminars drop. And within that portal where you get the seminars, you're also getting a huge library of archival material that is like luminaries. It's everything, prompts and craft calls. And so you can feast as much as you want in that portal, or you can be like, I want to go to the live programming, or you can be like, I think I'm just going to go to studio for a little while and I'm going to save these recordings that she's doing live, or I'm coming to everything and I'm going to ask Suzanne all my questions and I'm going to send her pages every time she meets. And, it's really up to you how you work it. But what I've found is when you find your rhythm with it, that's what's best. Like I found my rhythm with it and I love my rhythm and I'm sticking with it, sticking to it, no matter what. So you try different things at the beginning and then um, it'll start to move you into the book that you're meant to write. Okay, let me see what you guys are saying. I'm going to read. You can read along with me and see if you have questions in here. And you can also raise your hand. Serena's here to help me see you. If you want to raise your hand and ask any questions about it, because I just talked for a long freaking time. Oh, Trisha, you're focusing on a thriller. Wow, trying to have something tangible by spring. Yeah, Sheena, who's a Gateless trained teacher, just sold in genre like that. It's so fun to hear her read. And Sandra's working on a memoir-esque shorter pieces that were birthed in studio. Everyone loves studio. Um, and Heather, thank you for capturing some of the call. It's opening the portal to your creative genius and with everyone else helping. Yeah, that's totally because the world squeezes it shut. Yes. Yeah. If you're serious about writing, this is from Terry, who's done it a number of times. I can think of no reason to seek another program. There's no shortcut, that's true, to doing powerful book, regardless of genre, unless, of course, you love when people criticize you and thrive in pain. Short of that, yeah, if you like to be whipped, then this probably isn't the place. It also just doesn't work. Oh, I'm so happy you're bringing a new book to the Academy, Jessica. I can't wait to read it. And yeah, just keeping it going. Hearing other styles is very permission giving. Yeah, in studio, hearing different people's styles, that's so true, Laura. It's like really gives you permission. And Sandra's saying you'd be amazed at what people create in studio. It's so true. And Heather's showing you a little bit more of what you do inside there. Thank you, Heather. Um, yeah. Studio, oh, this is from Tiffany Cook. Studio has shifted the way I see myself as a writer. I feel legit. That's beautiful. I love that. What are the dates? So the portal opens actually tomorrow, and then there's a month long where you guys can audit it. Like if you're wondering, you can't audit the portal because the portal is password protected for the people who are actually accepted to the academy. But we're going to do work in progress salons. I'll have a craft call where Academy people who are accepted can begin to ask me questions, send me pages. We'll do a luminary call with Kelly Anderson. We'll do, a bunch of stuff during that month because it is a big commitment. I think it's very hard for us to surrender and commit to the writing. Very hard. It's like we want to push the arts aside just because society has pushed it aside. And we've also been told all our lives, like about the myth of the starving writer. I don't have writers that are starving. Like my writers who have sold well. And the books open doors too, career-wise. Like, oh, suddenly I'm getting asks for media appearances. People want to study with me. I'm being asked to speak. Like it is, as Tiffany said, like it's a legitimacy that's very nice. That's with the book as well. Anytime you can call yourself a writer. And then it goes all the way in the summer. So you're going to be there until August. And what we do in the summer is we go really towards the sale, like the proposal and everything, but all during the year. I mean, I'm the one who created those seminars. You can ask me any questions that you have around that part, because some people will sell in the middle of the academy and then will start their next book in the middle of the academy, and other people aren't ready for that at all. Like they're just really trying to get the book done. Or one of the women who's taking it again is she wrote a memoir and now she's like, I really want to fictionalize this because I don't want to get in trouble. And also she just finds fiction really fun. So everybody's at a different place, but the summertime is about the sale, and we have um, a woman who works with you guys in the summertime on media. So she does like, she'll teach you how to pitch. She'll teach you how to kind of build that platform if you need to. And if you're fiction writer, then you work with me on your query and on the agent find and stuff like that. And you can choose, which one you want to do. Yeah, so
Sorry,
it
I'm still
does feel,
confused about the timing. Is the first month really the academy, or is the first month of like
yep.
audit not really the academy? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
So for the people who are accepted, the first month is the academy. So they get into the portal tomorrow and then they take the academy all year, and they can ask questions of the luminaries. They can bring their work to the work in progress salon. They can ask me questions and send me pages. And then for the people who want to audit it, they might not be interacting, but they can audit it. They can observe, like, oh, this is what a work in progress salon is like with Kate. This is what it's like to have a craft call with Suzanne. But you get the password for the academy when you're accepted. So if you haven't applied, you wouldn't get into the portal, but you could. I'm going to send out for you guys, like, there's a work in progress salon with Kate tomorrow. You can audit that. You can sit in on it to see what it's like. But the people who are actually accepted are going to interact with all of it. They're going to be able to, yeah, do it all. So it's sort of like when you're in college and you're like, I'm not going to take the class right now, but I'm going to see if I like the class and if I like her and all of that. And then for the schedule, it's all consuming if you let it be, maybe, but it actually is titrated for working writers. Like most of the writers that are in the academy, they're moms, they're doctors, like Kelly, who's going to be the first luminary. She's a full-time doctor and she has two small sons, and she went through the academy no problem. And you will too. I mean, anyone who's been through the academy, nobody's sitting around twiddling their thumbs waiting for the academy seminars to come on. They're actually like, oh, all right, well, I can't come to the one on Tuesday, but I'm going to listen to it Thursday during my lunchtime, or yeah, I'm going to come to it Thursday. I have an hour that I can do that. But it's not like you have to do this by this amount of time. I'm looking to see who's kind of coming to the calls and who's managing to listen to the seminars, because I want to catch up with you. I want to be like, hey, how's it going? Were you able to come? Do you need any help with this? Like, I want to kind of keep track of you. But it's really a rhythm that you get into, and it's like, oh, I think I'm gonna do a yoga class once a week. Okay, I think you have time for that, right? So you'll have time for this. And it's so fun. Like people love the academy. sessions. It just is, it's a blast. Like we have a lot of fun on those sessions and you learn so much and you're feeling like, oh, I'm really moving forward. So yeah, it's all consuming because I wanted it to be comprehensive. I don't want anybody left out. I don't want any writer to feel like, oh, I'm not being met here, or like, I wish there was this, but there's not that. But there may be things within there that you're like, I don't really want to go to the work in progress salon this month. I feel like I need it right now. Or yeah, maybe I'll listen to the craft call, but I don't really have any questions because the seminars answered everything. And the seminars are beautiful to listen to. You can listen to them as you're going to sleep at night. You're not supposed to like take notes and everything. It's going to get through there by osmosis because you're going to start to see what you're learning in studio. You're going to start to see it in the work in progress salons. You're going to start to see it in the craft calls. Like, oh, that's what she means by the global frame. I get it. Yeah, totally. I get that. So it isn't, the Academy believes, and this has been shown to be true over and over again, that the work is like a leading. It is kind of a leading, like meaning that you let the seminars sink in even though they're so rich with tools and craft and industry know-how, it is kind of, it's said in a way that it sinks into you. Like Bran McLean used to say, like, I feel like I'm at church when I'm listening to those because you're hungry, you're thirsty for this information, and you're finally like slaking that thirst. And it makes sense of things that you've noticed all your life, but you don't know why it works. Like, why do we remember Atticus Finch? Why do I want to keep turning the pages of this book? Oh, that's why. I can do that. So it's showing you in bas relief. It's almost like an Escher print. Like, oh, once I saw the book like this, now I see it like that, and I know that I can do it. You'll find plenty of time, Linda. I know it. Okay. Francie, hi Francie. My first question, being new to the Academy, how do you help guide and advise with a second draft of a novel without reading and being familiar with the first draft? Well, you're going to tell me, right? You're going to tell me about your first draft, where you are with your second draft. You're going to send me the pages that you're asking about. One of the things that's so important about being a writer is knowing how to do it without leaning on anyone else. So it's like, how do we create sovereignty as writers? Because honestly, no one wants to spend money every single book for somebody to come in and play with their pages and move them around and tell you what you're doing right and tell you what you're doing wrong and make it happen. You want to know, you want to be able to look at your draft, and that's what the Academy is for, and be like, oh, I know that the eighth chapter is supposed to go first. I'm going to make sure with Suzanne that that's what she's talking about when she talks about that first chapter, but I think this is going to work. And I'm actually going to put him at the beginning in that paragraph because power changes places. This is all things that you're going to learn. It's going to be kind of like that once you start learning it because you've seen it. You've been reading all your life and you've been hearing stories and you don't know why some stories work and some stories don't. But as soon as you know the vernacular and the craft of it, it's sort of like a jigsaw puzzle. It just all comes together and makes this picture of like, oh my God, I know what I'm doing. I got this. You know what I mean? So you would be telling me what's going on with the second draft and where you're moving from the first to the second. And the most important thing that you can tell me is your vision. What do you want the reader to feel like? What are you trying to do here? Because what we've seen traditionally in classic academic programs is the writer has to and not say a word. And you're supposed to guess the mystery of what the writer's trying to do. Why would that be? Like, I need to know what you're trying to do so that I can help orient you there and give you all the tools and all the skills and the network and everything to get you there. So part of it is like, what are you trying to do in that second draft? What were you moving from in terms of that first draft? When you read it for yourself, what did you see? What worked? What wasn't working for you? What do you feel like you need? What are you thirsty for right now in terms of that second draft? And it will be that kind of depth of understanding of the work. It's really exciting to go into the second draft. There's a lot that happens in the raw draft that we want to use, particularly energetically. And then the second draft is an incredible sort of feast again of seeing and creating a full-bodied book. And then in the third draft, there's this understanding of like restraint, like, oh, I need this, I don't need that, I need this. And then the fourth draft is just that honing, it's revision really. And the other two are more full bodied than that. It's a beautiful question. Melissa, I'm finishing a fiction book, but it's set in a real city or town and real companies. Some of the book says negative things. Do I need to be careful of what I write? With the novel, not at all. You can just write whatever you want. And then you can say, well, it's fiction. I'm sorry you see your town in there. So you can really have a blast with fiction. Just beginning. Hi, Jean. You're so wonderful. So are you. Is there a process for determining if our idea is worthy of pursuit? Yes, there is a process. You need to tell me what the idea is so that we can suss it out. Because sometimes the idea is a societal trope, for example, or I will know just because I've been in the industry and I'm talking to people in the industry all the time, like that's kind of something that is being done a lot. What if we look at other angles? And I will ask you a million questions to build the idea out. So usually the idea is worthy, but then it might need friends, or it might need an angle, it might need a global frame, it might need to be approached in a certain way so that you find your singular story or book that you're trying to write. And that is huge. Like Teresa Cantley and I have been talking about it a lot with her book, which is a business book. And it's like, what's the angle there so that when she went and talked to a publisher who's interested in it, she was able then to have that foundation below her of like, oh, I know how to talk about this. So it's not just another business book, but it's actually, I've titled it in a certain way. It's for this niche group or whatever it is that we need to kind of suss out with you. But yes, there's a process that would be in the craft call, and you can come with that, Linda, and we'll talk it through. Um, Christina Dexter. I used to think writing the novel was like performing a magic trick. The Academy helped me, yes, she's an alumni. The Academy helped me see it as an act of structure, craft, and scene. All this info was mandatory as I worked on my novel. It really is. It's so important to know craft. It's so fun too. You have so much agency. Christina and I always talk about the novel now, and it's so fun to do it. Serena, who's also an Academy alum. I did the Academy and it's such a rich gold mine. Everything you need to know, and it's so fun. Oh my gosh, I loved having you in there, Serena. You can also download the seminars and keep listening to them. I listen to them still. Yeah, Daisy Florin was saying the other day that they really helped her to re-listen, even though she's, published and everything. Melissa Dugan, for those returning, it definitely sinks in the second and third time. Yeah, there are so many layers to it. Um, okay. Do you guys have other questions about your book or anything? It's sort of like catching lightning in a bottle, trying to describe it. So I hope that I hope that you get it, but you can always write to me and send me an email and be like, I still don't quite get this part, or I don't understand this, or I feel like I'm unique because of that. It's so helpful for me to be able to hear where you're from, because one of the meaning like where you're coming from in the process, because one of the things I like to do is to hear from you so that I can curate the luminaries. I can say to the luminaries, look, some people are struggling with this. Let's do that. Or I can really think about like the prompts or how I'm approaching craft calls. Like it's a very high touch experience. It's very much that we're in it together and it's alive in a way. Every Academy group is alive. I mean, last year we had an incredible time together. There was so much richness and so much depth. And I felt really like, oh, we're all kind of a family or an organism that's trying to do this thing together We never are in competition because we know we're singular. We know we're different than the person next to us because we've heard the person next to us read. And because also we're learning all the time that while books have similar architectures, similar exchange of power in the end, similar need for the global frame, a circular structure of time, all these arcs, they have all that in common, but then I'm unique. And if I don't tell my story, nobody's going to know this from my frame of reference. Nobody. So it's just going to stay stuck inside me. And I used to think like a lot, I can just put things off. And then the pandemic came, and one of the biggest lessons I got was like, no, you kind of can't. You know what I mean? And that shifted the academy for me because I realized like you guys needed even more touch. After the pandemic, I started to get even more into your process with you and wanting to hear from you more and doing these more intensive craft calls where I was able to really talk to you because it's like you have the idea and then when? You know what I mean? When do we get this done? So I think anything could happen. And if you're in here and moving in the academy, like Gateless is so beautiful and it makes you feel so good and you feel really charged up and inspired and stimulated. But also, it's about achieving. It is about like, I have this idea in my mind or this goal. I don't even know yet quite what it is, but I can feel it. And yeah, that's so exciting to have that. And then you get to work towards it. So I think it's sort of a mix of both those things. Let me see. How do you know if you're ready? It's such a good question. I have a clear idea and I'm motivated, but I'm still trying to be consistent to produce the writing. So I'm not sure there's enough content there. Um, can you talk, this person? Are you able to unmute?
Hi.
Hi, love. How are
Hi, I'm
you?
on my phone, so I'm not
Oh
sure.
my God, that's okay. I can hear you perfectly. I just wanted to tell you that, like, something that I've really noticed is that sometimes consistency is like a little bit of a block for the writer. And it might be that your book or your writing wants to come out in bursts.
Mhm.
And I feel like maybe not, we don't know yet, but I feel like allowing for those bursts to happen and for the inconsistency to be there, my sense of the writing is that it needs gestational time and it can sometimes feel a little bit like, why is this not why am I not sitting down on my seat every morning and doing this thing, and maybe I'm not ready to do this thing. But I think when I've looked around at how writers produce, it's actually not very like measured and rigid like we've been taught to be. So I know that's not your question, but I just wanted to tell you that it can be kind of these weird, inconsistent bursts. And I get those too, where it'll be like 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, oh my God, I have this idea. And
Yeah.
then I won't write again, and I'm like, well, maybe I don't really want to do that idea, but the idea will come back on a walk. And I'm like trying to voice text, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and
Yes. I have like voice text and text to myself and writing all over the place and on the computer or in spirals, in different rooms. And so I'm like in this stage where I'm like, okay, I need to compile this and, am I ready? So that's why I'm like, am I ready to really
yeah,
join a program like this?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it has to do with the intuitive, like, and maybe the intuitive is really kind of what I like to call the spirit of the word, like what it's pointing you towards, what feels sort of like an energetic pull, because people do enter like with like coffee filters. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, but I just have feel this book coming and it's kind of all over the place and I'm actually not sure because I have like 3 books and what the academy reminds me of is sort of like a river and it you kind of finally have the banks of the river and the work starts to find form. It's like it's all scattered and then whoosh, it's like, oh, I have my form. And it
Mhm.
doesn't happen from willpower. It happens from that osmosis thing I was telling you about. Like, it's a very weird experience, but suddenly the work starts to find itself and find the other pieces of it. And it begins to form these patterns that you're like, oh, I see what I'm doing here. Because she's telling me that the book forms these patterns. And I can see that my work, even though it's very scattered, has these elements in it that she's talking about. And then it just does find form. Like Christina was just talking about her book. And what I noticed with her process, because we keep in touch about her process, is that, and she's done the academy a few times, is that first it was like, I don't know, I know I want to write fiction, but it's kind of all over the place. And I have these bursts of like inspiration. And then it started to be like, oh, I think I have one character here. And then it was like, oh, I noticed that these scenes are talking to each other. And so I think it's about patience really with the book itself, that it will find form. And Laura Belgray and I were talking about the kind of pineapple theory that we have about writing, and that it forms these patterns that at first you don't trust that it will. It's like it's growing all over the place, like shoots and you know what I mean, everywhere. And then suddenly you start to see, if you let it, that it has a pattern. And the only way you can see that pattern is to know that there are patterns and what they're called, and that codification of craft and all of that. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's, you can feel it if the writing is calling for the Gateless experience in the academy. You can feel it. And what's great about the studio being in there is that you just drop down and write, and then that with that material that you're writing, you know, you have these times that you can drop down and write. You will begin to see like, oh, these talk to each other. And also you can ask me. You can be like, I think these talk to each other, but I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. I feel like I need to just kind of survey all of my piles, and see if
Yes. Yeah.
something's starting to happen, and then maybe it will help me know. So thank you.
Yeah. I will. I think that's a great thing. Ask the writing. The
Yeah.
writing always knows what it wants. But thank you for talking. And just I would just not at all dismiss the inconsistency. I think it's part of the creative kind of spatial process. Yeah. It's a good
Yeah.
question. It's good to talk to you.
Thanks.
Have you had many women 25 to 30-year-olds in the academy? Yes, many. Say someone that started and didn't finish college, gifted writer and performer. Yeah, we have actually. I think the thing with college is that it teaches us to think in a very linear way. So sometimes we have to unlearn that linear way in order to learn the spatial way of the creative. So it can happen. I mean, for me, I did go to college. I didn't take writing courses, but I think if I had, I would have had to unlearn the writing courses, not the craft, but like the way to approach the word, which is with this criticism. So sometimes it winds up that someone who doesn't have that formal education takes to it a little quicker because they're not unlearning the academic sort of, you know, supremacy mindset. And I don't know if you know who Larry Brown is or William Gay or these writers who kind of burst out from the hamlets of the South in the 1990s. And there are more than just them, you know, people who didn't have codified education, um, who quickly became very famous. And what they found was that they learned craft by deconstructing books and talking and like learning craft, but they didn't have the criticism behind them that academia relies on. So it was why a lot of their work just kept kind of finding form. Like William Gay was given a Guggenheim. He's the only, I think the only person who's ever been given a Guggenheim Award without having to apply for it because his work was so strong. Never went to college, never saw a college course. I think he may not have finished high school. So I believe that people who are coming from a place that's like, we have a lot of European writers, we've had writers from Dubai, from Central America, from Nigeria, and they have a very different education system that sometimes doesn't include formal arts education. And so they don't know to deconstruct the work and criticize the work. And their work it blends genres, it does very risk-taking, interesting things. So yeah, I think that's totally fine. And we get a lot of we get all ages in Gateless, as a matter of fact. Yeah, Melissa's saying, you, Suzanne, and the Academy make a huge difference in not feeling isolated. I just think let's not feel isolated. It's such a hard world. It's good to have each other. It's so good that you're here, Melissa. Let's see. Yeah. That's been my struggle. I'm so not a lone wolf, but I love writing and reading. I know I always want to have like a reading retreat where we just get up in the morning, get our coffee, and like go read. And then at lunch, we talk about our books, and then we go back and read and nap. And then wouldn't that be fun? I am such a reader. Laura Belgray, I quote the pineapple theory all the time and minds are blown. Well, she's the one who codified it into the pineapple theory. I didn't even think of that. Karen Kenny, hi, love. One of the funnest things about Gateless and feedback is how the other writers reflect back to you the patterns and themes in your work that even you, the writer, weren't aware of. Finding the universal in the personal. Yes, exactly, exactly. Hard agree, Laura Belgray. Suki, thanks for taking the time to do this today. I have to run. Bye, Suki, and we'll submit an application. Oh, good. I'm so glad. I love the idea of trusting this process. Oh my God, Kim Healy, a friend of mine did a reading retreat in Thailand. I want to hear everything about that. I just opened the application, Linda Ugalo. My eyes are filling with tears. Yeah. Fear, hope, whatever it is, I believe it means that this is the right time. Yeah. Because whether or not it actually leads to a book, if I don't make space now, then when? I just turned 70. Happy birthday. I do know that I've always wanted at some point to experience the Academy. I just wanted to tell you guys that we have the book as the architecture that we're moving into and that I'm teaching. But Gateless is not just here for the book. Do you know what I mean? It's here because we need a place to go where we're creative together, where we take risks, where we know we're not going to be in a competitive atmosphere, where we can talk to each other and laugh and yes, sometimes really cry. And like we're here for it. We're holding it. And that is alchemizing. It's alchemizing to write. It's alchemizing to be in the spirit and the power of the written word, which, if you really think about its history and the ancient nature of how the word came down, like in Mesopotamia and Egypt, Sanskrit as a language, it came down from what they thought was the divine. Like they were like, what is this L? And then I'm going to make this other shape that's an O and this V that's like two hands going up to the heaven. And then this E that's like a laughing letter. Love. This is how we do this. What if we didn't have writing? So to be inside this with you guys, it's like a field. It's an experience of celebration for this thing. Like the blank page is a sanctuary. It's an oasis. It is always going to be there for you. And you can be mad, you can be sad, you can be celebratory, you can be egoic, you can be anything you want on that page. And all you're doing now is taking the next step to be like, how can I make this into something that people want to read? And you have that. You have the story, you have the wisdom, you have it all inside you. All this is giving you is here, look, I navigated this industry, I navigated the craft, I know the technology of a book, I'm going to pass it all to you. But really, the gift of this is that you get an incredible community with people that want to see you succeed. I mean, all those luminaries at the symposium, they are cheering you on. When someone gets a book deal in Gateless, it's just like, oh my God, did you hear? Did you hear? And everybody's flooding your inbox. But even if you don't get the book deal and you're feeling sad one day, people are still going to flood your inbox and be like, oh my God, I heard you were sad. I just want to tell you how much I love your work. It's so powerful. It's, you know what I mean? And you get to keep being encouraged in this process of creation, which raises the immune levels. It helps with insomnia. It helps with post-trauma. The writing, it is such an incredible medicine. So a lot of what we're doing here, we talk about the book, we talk about the architecture of the book, the sale, all of it. But really, we also want to remember that this is writing. This is a superpower. And when you have craft, it's even bigger. It's like, oh my gosh, not only do I have this thing that I get to default to and rely on and feel like is a friend, but now I'm able to do stuff with it. I know, I understand why people want to read. Okay, happy birthday, Linda. Yes. When you turn 70, you get the whole year. Yeah, we're going to celebrate you all year, Linda. If not now, when, Karen Kenny? Oh, I love that. We can do that at the lake here. This is joy. Rustic, it's rustic, and there's a pontoon for our pondering. We can read on the pontoon, reading on the water. Oh my God. Oh, part of me got part of what got me to join from Laura Belgrade was the thought if I saw a bus bearing down on me and it was about to be curtains, my last thought was I didn't rate my phone. Yeah, exactly. Do you know, you guys, we went on retreat and Laura was there in Florida back when I still wanted to go to Florida, like a month before everything shut down. We had no idea that the pandemic was coming. We were lying all over each other. You know, I always have body workers at retreat and they were massaging or eating from the same, you know what I mean? It was just like this big fantasia of togetherness. And then a month later, the world shut down. And I thought, like, what if I hadn't done that retreat? It kind of filled me up for the next however long that was. Oh, Molly Foley, thank you so much for doing the Q&A. They're so helpful. I saw a card with the word love on it on my morning nature walk. Oh my God. Feels like a sign to join. Yes, since that's the word you use, an example of the written word coming from the divine. Yeah. Sheena, that's the magic of the community. I love people cheering you on. They want you to succeed. And Laura says, an Academy member told me the other day that she started out saying, I don't know what my voice is. And now she's about to shop it around. And her concern is my proposal too voicey? The critic is such a trickster. Oh my goodness. You guys, I'm sorry that I talked so much. I just wanted to give you like everything I could about it so that you weren't feeling at all confused. And you know, lightning in a bottle is difficult, but if you have specific questions, just reach out. You know, that's why I'm here. It's not supposed to be like, I'm not going to tell you, and then you're going to come in and feel like shocked or something. I want you to know what you're getting into, and I want you to feel solid about it. And I do want you to feel like, is this for me? Do I feel good about it? And if you don't, that's okay. You know what I mean? It's all right. It's like either going to be a whisper inside the self and a drawing forward, or it's not. But I want to give you as much information so you feel really, really solid about what you're doing if you haven't done it yet. And for those of you who have joined, I just feel that we're going to have an incredible year. Like, you are an amazing group of writers. I mean, when Heather and I would get those applications, I usually don't do little personal notes that much. Like, Heather will write a little something. I usually just say, yeah, this'll work. This is good. But this year, like, I can't help it. I just feel like I'm pouring out to the applicant, like, oh my God, I love this and this is why. And I just felt that with this kind of electrifying feeling with your applications that this is going to be a group that's really going to rise together, and that is so fun. It can be sort of a symphony, and we don't know what the year holds, right, in terms of the external, but we're going to know that we're in this together and we're moving forward together, and I'm so excited to do that. So Trisha, thank you so much. Inspired yet again, and the visual of Laura's bus is compelling. I have to run. Hopefully she's not running away from a bus. Okay, my love. And if you have questions, just send them by email. And it might be like going to the doctor where you think of you think of the questions after, and that's okay. You can just send me something. Yeah, Amy, I'm so happy you're in the academy this year. I can't wait to see your writing again, my love. Okay, my sweet. So good to be with you and all the alumni, and keep in touch, and I'll see you next week.